We're back.
That was the money from the tip.
Okay, letter E, we have discussion and possible approval. Ms. Colstead asked where the 500,000 was going. Of that 500,000, letter E asks for allocation of $470,010.25 of that advance repayment from TIF District Number 4 to the Ashley Expansion Project, TIF District Number 3. The remaining $29,989.75 we'll talk about in just a second, but I'm gonna ask that that be reallocated over to the core project, which will be on a future agenda item. So it'll be, authorization motion by Sensala, seconded by Feltes to allocate $470,10.25 of that 500,000 over to that project. Does that make sense then?
It's getting there.
Okay.
Is that what you just explained, Joe?
And the reason why it's 470,000 and not the 571,000 is because the utilities have authorized a $101,000, $101,000. I don't have the exact dollar amount on me, but roughly $101,000 from the utilities in support of that project for some of the works. Any discussion on this 470, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, we'll accept the vote, Mrs. Berg.
Wojni.
Yes.
Holsted.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Gonzala.
Absolutely.
Now, Marlis, earlier you had asked about the dollar amounts and funding that feasibility study. The money that was originally allocated in the October 19th motion that just failed a little while ago, along with the excess dollars from the $500,000 advance repayment, and some other funds will go to pay for that, and that will be all explained where it's coming from and going to this feasibility study with the core any future agenda item.
So that $29,000 is part of that.
Yes, but because it's not on the agenda tonight, earlier I had indicated that I got the spreadsheet for it, but I didn't get it on the agenda, that's why it wasn't here tonight, otherwise it would have been. I went right in order and I stopped after the 470 and I should have put the next one on, and I apologize for that. Okay, we've got approval of general fund invoices for payments.
That's this here.
Could be.
So what happens is that now, we look at this now and say yes, and then Angela can pay it. Is that correct?
Sounds fantastic.
That's the idea.
Well, the nice thing about this is there's a bill that you wanna look at, you can go grab it, see what, you know.
I do have some questions on this.
Mhm.
Is this the time to ask them? The Johnson Block and Company auditors, $600, what and when or what was that for?
Can I go grab the invoices, Ron?
Sure.
We asked one question at a time.
As long as you don't expect two answers coming out at the same time.
Yeah. Well,
That's right.
The highlighted ones in yellow are the ones that were added since last Friday when we did got your packets.
Yep, that's the utility thing.
How come it's in here then?
Because all these buildings need the bills for everything needs to pay.
And that includes the utility bills, or the utility services. Oh, okay. So that comes out of the utility fund. I'm still gonna ask it again.
Like this one, this is what I read.
She was asking about the Johnson and Blockville, I believe. And Mrs., it looks like Mrs. Berg is going through the,
Marla Marlis, there's a lot going on with all these projects. I had called Johnson Block and worked with Bill. There was some assistance with the general fund cash projection and the TIP advances. There was assistance with recording the TIP bonds and the sewer advance and the TIP increment. And then there was a review of the utility cash reserves.
Who had, approved this?
I did, I mean, you know, department heads have the ability to spend up to $1,000
Okay.
without council approval, and that was split between the utilities and the general fund.
Okay, so it was $1,200 then?
No, it was
Your
eight-
half was 600, the city? the
No,
general
well,
fund?
was that what it says on there? I
Well, it
think-
says that $600, so if you paid half, was
No, it wasn't, the utility cash reserves weren't,
Okay.
I think it was like 800.
Okay. So the auditors were brought in so that when you're audited for the year, it's going to,
Make sense?
yeah, is that,
That's right.
okay.
The total was 800, it was split, with the utility stuff, there's some stuff going on with the electric utility, so $200 for the electric utility, $200 for the general fund, $200 for tip number 3, and $200 for tip number 4.
Okay. And then my other question, for the light poles, which, you were gonna ask that?
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Todd.
Well, I just wondered the number of $95,000 for the light poles, that doesn't come out of the city funds, that comes out of the utility fund?
No, that's the general fund portion of the utilities, and again, that was part of the, financing thing that was supposed to be on tonight's agenda, so if you wanted to, hold that for a few days for the, light pole stuff,
Yeah.
that'll be shown to you, but, I got it all written in by hand, I just didn't get it on the agenda, and I apologize for that.
Okay,
I guess I'm
Yeah.
aware of the light pole things is, over a period of time too, putting up new light poles up and down Main Street and all those other streets,
Yep.
right?
And
So it's
I'll-
not all one big lump.
Correct, and I'll bring all that to that meeting, and, like I said, I got her right here, it's just, I didn't have it on the agenda.
yeah, that would be good if we could hold off on that one. And then, Will Riley, Pren and Ricky, the lawyer services. What was the date of that service and what was that for? Was it like a phone call, a letter, or consultation?
There was a consultation, one with the police department and one with, myself, with employee matters, Marlis.
Okay.
If you wanna see the invoice, you're more than welcome to look at it, but not in open session.
Okay, so I guess what, drew me to question this is because we usually go through Cosmo and whatever, and this is a different service.
Well, they did our policy manual and they do kind of,
Our labor stuff
our
and
labor,
our union
Steve
contracts
Wells
and-
was the one that negotiated the police union contract.
Okay,
Oh, sure.
okay. And then I guess I question these in yellow that, you know, they're just put down before us, can they wait? You know, I mean, it's $22,000 bills that we didn't have a chance to look at before.
Yeah, they can, they just came in, between Friday and today, so Sally added them to this list, but if you guys wanna wait.
I would prefer to.
So your motion would be to,
Fine.
not include the yellow ones and not include the light pole?
Correct.
I'll second that. Any motion?
I made the motion, did
I thought you did.
I? Yeah.
But I was just clarifying and writing my notes on here, so.
Right.
that would include-
Everything but the 95,000 one and the yellow.
Motion by Colstead, seconded by Conrad to approve all of these expenditures except the ones highlighted in yellow and the, JT services for the light poles, please. And, any discussion further? Vote whenever you're ready then, please.
Colstead,
Yes.
Conrad,
Yes.
Fetch,
Yes?
Altus, Sensala.
Yeah.
Wojni.
Yes.
Okay, discussion of rules of order, conduct, and decorum for council meetings. It's, suggested that, we discuss the running of the council meetings, and so here we are.
Good. I mean, open it up for, I would like to have a person who is very knowledgeable in parliament procedure to come before us and discuss this. I mean, I am not a parliamentarian, I don't think any of us are. And to discuss the pros and cons of possibly using the Robert's Rules of Order, which is basically the way most states and community activities or community people, governmental bodies, yeah, I get lost for words here. The churches and whatever, they use this, so, I know it seems like, it might be, a thing that we should be looking at to know what we can do if we get into a bind on motions and all that sort of thing. So, that's what I would propose, is have somebody come in. Our legal counsel perhaps could be doing that, or else a person like Mr. Whalen up at the school, that they do parliamentary procedure courses as well as activities and contests and all this. I think it would be a good idea to kind of see the pros and cons of that type of thing.
I know that, that several state legislatures, and I know specifically that the US Congress, both the House and the Senate, have their own rules of order and decorum and stuff like that, but they are not Robert's Rules of Order. I'm a C-SPAN junkie, and while they do certain things that are parliamentary, they did not adopt. They actually have their own rules too, that the leadership in each governmental body does that. You had indicated other levels of government.
Well, American Legion uses Robert's Rules of Order. There's churches that use it when we have our meetings and all that sort of thing.
I'm just curious about other levels of government though. I mean, I know you said the, other municipalities and stuff, and I was just wondering if you could identify some that do.
No, I cannot. Specifically, no. So that's
So
why.
more of an
it says-
assumption, not an exact, that we assume that they.
So I'm looking at somebody here that could come and talk to us and say, hey, this is what so-and-so uses, this is what so-and-so uses. And a lot of people do use Robert's Rules of Order. So, I mean, I think we just need somebody to come and tell us, and what the advantages or disadvantages or something like that is. So, I would like to have perhaps Terry Madden come over, because I know he's been has worked with the legislature, and he has mentioned that parliamentary procedure. I'm not exactly sure if it was Roberts or somebody else's, or like you say, the House itself adopts its own rules, but I'm sure they're using something that's very similar to Robert's Rules of Order. So, when I was in college, I had a parliamentary procedure course, a 1-credit course, those courses you have to take. And I used the Sturgis Rules of Order, and I never heard of them. I thought we were gonna go over Robert's Rules of Order. Now, what do I remember from that? It seemed like it was very similar to Robert's Rules of Order. So that's why I'd like to have somebody come in here and who is knowledgeable on this idea, and to give us a presentation of pros and cons, so that we have something that we can use if necessary.
Do we want Angela to shoot an email over to Terry to see about availability and what that would cost us and what he'd be willing to present to us?
I would shoot something over to have him come and do it. Yes.
Can you do that, Mrs. Red?
You want a cost also, or just have them do it?
Just come do it. We're gonna get costs no matter what.
Well, we can't choose to incur costs for some things and then just go do it for other things. I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's be consistent
Well,
and
let's
get
get
a
a
cost
cost
on it.
then. Okay. Because I know we're gonna get costs.
Sure. You don't work for free.
Well, yeah. I thought all those when I got elected, but I guess I'm good paid.
Anything else on the rules of order or other conduct or decorum for the meetings?
Do you have a list, Mayor, of the rules that are used here?
We've got a list of the agenda protocol, but as far as the rules, I've indicated this multiple times, and I'll restate it for your humor and mine, that I run the meetings based off of observation of meetings that I attended prior to my election as mayor, and that our city has not ever, and I don't want it misrepresented, that I steered us away from using that. We have never used parliamentary procedure or Robert's Rules of Order. It's not in our charter, and like I said, I've hosted and run meetings in accordance with how meetings were run that I attended prior. And I've also attended school board meetings and, different levels of government, and, there's things that I've picked up and learned along the way that I think have benefited us, and that's my answer.
I have a basics of parliamentary procedure here too. Where did I get these? From Private Legal, Wisconsin municipalities or something like that, but it does go over some of that that we had discussed here, so we could have perhaps, when we have this discussion, maybe have some copies of this and see what what Terry would, or whoever comes.
I still have this that you gave me too.
Yeah, that's part of it, yeah, that's part of it. But that's a kind of portion of actual action, motions and all that. So-
Well, I liked it because it had examples.
Yeah, and this thing here actually goes through, how to handle a motion, amending a motion, and things like that. But I wanna hear it from the horse's mouth, somebody that had used it. And perhaps have him look at something like this. I can give that to you, and then you could take a look at this and comment on that. And maybe with the flow chart, perhaps give us some ideas what we should be doing, or what suggests that we can be doing, so.
Sure. And I'd like to add that, as we progress, the whole idea is that we find better ways and we do things that are better. But for criticism, to say that, the city's, falling apart or whatever because, we don't have Robert's Rules of Order, well, I, say God bless us for how well the city has been over our 150-some years of incorporation. I mean, we're a well-run city, we're in great shape infrastructure-wise, financially-wise, and God bless us, we did it without Robert's Rules. So, perhaps the sky isn't falling nearly as aggressively as it may have been indicated in certain letters to the editor.
Okay, I'll provide this with somebody here, but we don't need a motion on that, do we, or what?
No.
So I'll give the copies of this to Mrs. Berg, and then she can transmit this to Terry, and we can go from there.
Sure.
How's that? Nothing like to be improvements, right?
No. As far as conduct and decorum, I'm going to ask that we also have a code of conduct for the common council as well as decorum here. Without naming specifics, I know that this past summer we had an issue where there was some conduct that was not appropriate for a city council meeting. There was a visiting jurisdictions police officer that had a physical altercation. There was an arrest, and there was blood alcohol that was positive, and I think that it's important that if we're going to be pointing out ways that we can do better as the people that represent our city, I think that we need to have a code of conduct and decorum, and I would ask that in that same email that Mrs. Berg is sending for you, Dr. Fetch, that we include a code of conduct and decorum in the meetings for the 7 people that sit at this table, as well as what's expected for decent behavior for members of the public. I think that our city is going to be facing some investigation over this. There's some storm coming over it, and it was not in the city's best interest for that kind of conduct. So I'm asking you, Mrs. Berg, to continue on with that as the second part of that email to Terry, please. Are there other comments on rules of order, conduct, or decorum for the meeting? Otherwise, we can move on to future agenda items. Okay, future agenda items. Ms. Holstead.
Once again, I'm going to ask that we discuss, the status of Gaffney Road.
Okay. And please know that when a request gets put in, that there's a lot of work that goes into presenting the information, gathering the information, and having all the information that you need. And several of the things that were written on here were covered in the last meeting and tonight. So I'm more than happy to make sure that we get that at one of our next meetings. Absolutely. Anything else? Mr. Wojni?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Sensala? Mr.
No,
Falk?
it's this time.
Mr. Fetch?
I have a request, we had, at the last meeting, when those, the feasibility study came, remember he didn't have those studies to pass out to us? Did we ever get copies of that?
Yeah, I have that.
You do? So I'd like to have, we should all have a copy of that. So they'll be probably put in our file, right, or something like that?
Otherwise, I can email them out.
Okay.
Whichever.
That's all I have right now.
Mr. Kenny?
I'd like us to have a talk about what kind of work projects we're gonna do for the next upcoming year. Just, you know, if people have ideas what they want, I mean, council people have ideas of things they see around town that need to be fixed, so we're ready for that when this time is right for that.
Okay, I know that the department heads have been working with Bill on a capital improvement plan where certain departments may have a project that's in their works or they're cooperating with another department, like if Scrow's got something in the water department that Raleigh and Tim have something that they have to participate in. So, before the budget cycle begins and, once they get that capital improvement plan done, maybe that'd be a great time to sit down and not just share what the department heads have, but also your ideas. So what do you think? Get everybody together, bring the department heads in so they can explain their project? Because they know their systems better than any of us.
I guess my concern, and this is gonna sound like it's self-motivated, but these alleys on the, over in Cabbagetown, are them easements, are them just pathways, does the city own them?
We'll have to get a title search.
That's-
on it.
That's what I'd like to find out.
Okay. Anybody care if I take a quick 15 seconds for a cup of water, please?
While you're doing that, could I just say that tomorrow's a blood donation thing, that people should go over to Holy Family to, giving blood to the blood
Take
center.
6 minutes.
Yeah. Cut out the end of the year. When we did pigs, you just cut out the end of the year and then, a lot easier to stick them in the cable, but it's not that easy to do, you gotta spin the pigs. Yeah.
Okay.
1 to 6 o'clock, I guess, 1 to 6 for the blood, or Holy Family, yeah.
I'm over 2 guys.
Good deal.
This year?
Since I started giving.
They've got some program, if you do over 3 in a year, you get some kind of a special award or
Orange
something.
juice and a cookie?
There you go, yeah.
I got a t-shirt.
It's good for people.
This time I did that, it was great for waiters in your hair.
Oh, really?
And the second time, same thing happened, the third time we found lady.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be for me
How about the third time?
here. There is no third time.
That hasn't
3 strikes and you're out, that ain't happening.
Not that bad, just don't.
They come with a harpoon like this.
Yeah.
When they wanna
No,
draw
see,
blood
Doc,
up the hospital.
Doc, when my dad got sick, he asked me to start giving, cause he was taking some blood. So he asked us all to start giving, and I just kept on.
All right, I've taken in a lot of comments and questions at meetings and in the paper and in the public, as well as many accusations. Because they are specifically related to the conduct and operation of the council, some of those I would like to give a full and complete answer to. And then after that, I too have questions, and I will ask them either at the end or throughout.
Mayor, I wanna pause you for a bit.
Absolutely.